How's it going, guys? It's Dip here. Sorry about yesterday. If, for the couple of you that actually got to see the first video, I literally messed up and just didn't hit my audio on. So today I fixed that problem, and it actually turned out better because I took a little bit of time last night to actually write a script down to follow. So this video should be a little bit more concise. Um, but today, because I have a bunch of time, I'm actually going to put out two, possibly three videos. All of them are going to be based on the psionic zone. The first one's going to be basics, and then I'm going to try to do a little bit more advanced stuff in the other two. But for those of you that are new to the game, or smaller players in my alliance, or any alliance for that matter, anyone that's watching this video, I'm going to go over Psionic Zone basics in this one, and then I'm going to go over more advanced topics in the next couple videos. But I should be able to get out two for sure, probably three videos today, all on the Psionic Zone. I just want to make sure that they're smaller so that people can kind of follow along with like bite-sized pieces. If you want to stop, or you don't have time to watch a 45+ minute video, I'm not going to do that to you. So this is going to be the basics video. What is it, why it's important to learn what the psionic zone is, level versus talent. There's certain milestones that you need to look at, and a couple other things. So what is the psionic zone? Basically, that you just want to view the psionic zone as interchangeable equipment, similar to your missile or your torpedo, that'll give stats across the board to all of your carriers. So it doesn't just give you stats on your main one. This is just account-wide. No matter what carrier you send out, it gives you stats for that carrier. And you can interchange it and switch it up based on whatever activity you're trying to play. It's not just for fighting other players, but there's a couple key geniuses that you're going to want to pick up for farming pirates, a couple key geniuses that you're going to want to pick up for fighting people, and so on and so forth. So that's what the psionic zone is. It's 5 buildings straight across, and you want to level them up and level up the individual geniuses inside of them to increase the stat value that they give you. So it's important for this game specifically to understand it because it gives you an advantage over other players by allowing you to select different geniuses on the fly to kind of counter your opponents. So this is a military strategy game, despite it, being in a lot of cases whoever spends a lot of money usually is the person on top. But there are ways to be really, really competitive, totally free. You just have to assume that you're not going to be the #1 player on the server. If that is your goal, to be the #1 player on the server, you're going to have to spend money. And if that is not up to you or not in your wheelhouse, then this probably isn't the game for you. But if you just want to be competitive and have fun playing a competitive military strategy game with other people that are spending in your bracket, then this is the game for you. It's really, really fun. And what I mean by the interchangeable part is that, on the fly, say, for example, so I use, for the most part, I use a dodge setup, which means I try to max out the dodge on my carrier. So I actually swap off this guy, even though he's really good. And I'll use Eisenhower because he gives me another almost 30% dodge, more health, and this command power stat just lets you add more ships. So it lets you literally add more boats on your carrier. And if you're using dodge, typically you're also using a warship setup instead of an aircraft setup. So I want my warships to be doing the attack, and this quite literally translates into bringing more ships to the ship fight. And I'll use that analogy a lot in Psionic Zone because realistically, for most people that play for free or for very little money, an aircraft setup is what you're most likely going to use. And by aircraft setup, I mean using your planes to deal the majority of the damage, and your ships are kind of just there for protection. And warship setup is vice versa. It's the opposite of that. So there's certain geniuses you want for one versus the other, right? If you were doing an aircraft setup, you wouldn't be using Eisenhower. You'd probably be using this guy or Zhukov or someone else that gives you more stuff for your planes. But that's not the purpose of this video. I'll get into that more in the advanced one. The purpose of this one is just to go over basics, but it's important because you can swap geniuses out to fit your specific playstyle, and if you're getting beat during that playstyle because your opponent is using restrain or using sunder or dodge or something that like is kind of beating you, you can swap geniuses around to try to counteract that a little bit, um, so that you can be more effective against that specific opponent. Um, so changing things out between fights, if you lose, come back, swap a couple geniuses out, maybe they'll help, and then go back into the fight, and then say you win the second time. Cool. But so that's why it's important to understand all of the geniuses and what they do. That's not this video. I'm not going to go over every single one because that'll take an hour plus. But anywho, that's why it's important. There's 2 stats on any individual genius to look at. Right, I'll scroll down so that you can see it a basic level. I'm going to use MacArthur as my example in this video because I actually have 2 of him, one prior to talent level 60 and one after, so I can show you the difference. So, you know, my MacArthur right here, you can see from the first screen, he's level 80, well 87, but I just have a +7 because of the genius statue stuff. I'll get into this too, but that level 7 here on the genius statue adds to the level of my MacArthur. Oh, yeah, so that wasn't the one I had. Yeah, so it adds to the level of my MacArthur above the level of my Psionic zone. Okay, and then talent, same thing. When you have all of those guys, genius statue video will be a whole nother one too, but that's why that plus is there, the genius statue stuff. So what you're looking at, the experience level at the top here, is based on what level that individual building is. So see how my military academy is level 80? My MacArthur, because he's leveled up all the way, is level 80. I cannot get him any higher. It won't. This guy is currently training. This Genghis Khan is level 52. He won't be level 80 until for another 11 days. So I'm just training him up. Really, I just have someone training at all times just because you can, and making sure that all the geniuses I use are all capped out, and then I just kind of put someone in there because you can. But it'll take all 11 days, and then at the end he'll also be 87 or 80 plus 7 because he's in the same category as MacArthur. But notice the talent level down here is 45. Okay, there's a couple thresholds for talent level to be careful of, and the difference between them, the experience is going to increase their stats, but the talent level is going to experience is it'll increase the individual stats that are on it, but the talent level affects more directly how potent the stats are. So, if I go from 80 to 81, my overall accuracy might only move 0.7 on this, or 0.5, something like that. But if I increase the talent level by 1, it might go up 1 whole percent. So they both change the stat a little bit, but talent level affects the stat more. There's a couple thresholds. This guy is 45 plus 3, so he's 48. He doesn't reach the first threshold. The first threshold is 53. And the reason why that's the first threshold is because that is what it takes. Sorry, that was the wrong button. That is what it takes to clone them. And you need these DNAs, DNA IV specifically for MacArthur. And the blue one will make a copy of him at talent 53. Now, it only matters if he's above 53. You can't make a clone of something that's below that talent to just get a more talented one. It doesn't work. Your guy already has to be above that. But you use the DNA copy that you get. So when you use the item, it gives you another copy of that genius at talent level 53 in this case. And you can merge the two together to get them closer and closer to 60. So that's how you increase the talent level of any genius. And that process works for all of them. Yeah, so once you get them to 60, this purple one, 60 is the second milestone. So you got to merge, once you get them to 53, then you can start cloning them. You clone them, and make sure that you're working your way up, merging that guy together up until he's talent 60. Talent 60 is the second milestone, and it's really, really important because they start, all these geniuses, once they hit talent 60, they start developing what I call their special stat or their secret skill. Okay. Up until 60, this guy does not have, he only gives you cruiser critical hit. Once he's hit talent 60, oh, by the way, the genius statues, you don't actually have to have them at 60. You have to have their total be 60 with talent plus their genius statue stuff. That's why I brought this guy up specifically, so I could show you that this works too. But cruiser critical hit multiple gives you a +1, and it goes from double damage when they score a crit to triple damage. It's really important. MacArthur does that for overall, which is why he's super, super important. This guy's a lot higher. He's talent 60 +3, and it gives me that overall critical hit multiple. This is a really, really effective stat, especially if you're running a carrier like the JFK or something along those lines. All right. So that's kind of how talent works. That's the second milestone. And once they're at talent 60, for free players, you're pretty much going to keep them there. If you get a copy of them, yes, bring them up for sure. But you're pretty much going to keep them there. Get them as high as you can, but the DNAs cost a good bit of money. So you'll get a lot of them for free, and when you get the free ones, use them effectively, right? Pick up the geniuses that you need to pick up, or get them up to talent 60, or get them a little bit above. MacArthur doesn't really get that much more useful above 60, but Genghis Khan does. He gets really useful because he gets what is it, this full warship's attack stat, right? And that's, I mean, this guy straight up is like strapping on another phalanx and another missile onto your carriers at all times when you have full ships. So he's super, super strong. But that's why geniuses are important, because like if you don't have him, right, someone else is coming at you with an extra 30 defense and 30 attack that you just don't have. So it's really, really, really good. So there's key ones in each one of these slots. Look at the biggest players on your server, even if they spend a lot of money, to find out specific geniuses that you should get. But they have to make sense for your setup. And what I mean by that, by saying they have to fit your setup, is if you're running aircraft attack and the biggest guy in your server runs a warship setup specifically with like dodge, he's going to be using Eisenhower. You shouldn't use him on an aircraft setup because he's pretty much useless for you. The only stat you're going to get anything out of is the overall HP. This dodge isn't enough to take you over the edge to actually dodging anyone, and the command power doesn't really do anything for you because your ships blow up anyway. You're just going to spend more resources wasting. So he's a waste of time for people that are using an aircraft setup. But these three geniuses are really effective no matter what setup you're doing for the most part. That's why most people will have these on. So these guys are really, really key. MacArthur, Miyamoto, and Genghis Khan are a really strong power triple. Having all three of them on at the same time doesn't do anything. They don't like get any benefit off of each other specifically, but all three of them are really, really good to have in slot. Anyway, so make sure it fits your setup. You can look at any person on your entire server's psionic zone really easily. So like, let me go to world chat. I don't know. Okay, black eyes. Let's see this guy. Psionic zone. Okay, I can see exactly what guys he has slotted in, what level all of his buildings are at. I can literally even see the talent level and what it's giving him. And this is the only thing that the game gives you that will immediately let you see what your enemy is using so that you can counter them. I'm going to do a whole nother video on rereading reports and looking at the skills so that you can check other people's equipment too, so you can get an idea of their setup so you can work around it. But anyway, the game will literally just let you look at their psionic zone. So look at the biggest guys on your server, find out what they use, and make sure it makes sense for your setup. And then when you have the opportunity to pick up those geniuses, pick them up. Okay. Well, it looks like I got disconnected from the server. I'm going to re-log in really quick. Gonna try to make this video as quick as possible, so sorry about that. I don't know if my internet's doing anything wonky, but I'll get through the video anyway. While this is loading back in, I'll go over a couple things. The path that you want to take to get all the way up to the top for your Psionic Zone buildings. Level 40 is the first milestone for the building level. It'll allow your geniuses to reach their maximum current talent. All right, so the game crashed. I'll go back into it again. Once your guys are level 40, or your building is level 40, their current talent, so whatever they had when you got them, that drops randomly. They'll have their maximum effectiveness. After your building is level 40, you're going to want to take all of them to 40 as soon as possible to get the maximum effectiveness out of all of your geniuses. Then you're going to want to start and round robin, go one by one and try to pick all of them up to 60. Leave the others at 40, use all of your resources in one of them. So I personally recommend to upgrade your military academy first, and then upgrade the rest of them whenever you have a genius that you picked up that you could use the second slot for. That'll fit in better. Once you have level 60 psionic zones, for most free players, you're going to be here a while. It's really hard for free players to get up to level 80 psionic zone, but you'll get to level 60 within about 6 to 10 months if you're playing efficiently. 60 to 80 is going to take you a lot longer. It's going to take about a year or so or more to get up to that high. So anyway, while this is loading back in, yeah, and then level 80 unlocks that third genius slot, and then genius statues unlock the fourth slot, which I don't even have access to yet, and that'll take a ridiculous amount of money to get up that high. Anyway, so that is the downside, by the way, of using an emulator. Sometimes the game just crashes and it might do it again, does it regularly, so I apologize for that. But the last thing that I wanted to go over for basics for this, I think I covered level and I covered talent. The last thing I wanted to go over is some specialty geniuses. Like I said, this isn't just used for player versus player. This is used for fighting other people. It's used for gathering. It's used for fighting pirates. There's geniuses that do all of those different things, and you want to adapt this as you go on to make sure that you are as effective as possible in whatever event you're trying to do. There's geniuses when you're taking out world bosses too. I use presets to change all of this. So when I'm fighting against pirates, I just hit use, swaps all of my geniuses to my pirate setup. It already was pretty close to my pirate setup to start. I use Quixote because he's a pretty good guy because, where is it? He gives you plunder, so you get more resources from pirates. He gives you your stamina back by a huge percentage, and he increases the speed that you get to pirates. So it's pretty, he helps you farm quicker, right? Rocket Fire, probably the most important genius in the game, in my opinion. So Plunder, like I said on the other guy, gave you increased resources from hitting pirates. Plunder 2 gives you a percentage chance to literally double the resources you get, which is massive once you get above level 21 pirates. You're going to be getting 100,000 to 500,000 per pirate hit, which is really, really good. And it does apply to rallies. So if you get those jack boxes to give you torpedoes and stuff, you can get double the amount of boxes. And at a 28 rally, giving you 6 boxes, that'll give you 12. Once your big hitters are above that, they're going to be giving you 14, 16 boxes per hit, which is going to get you, your jack equipment leveled up way faster than other people. And if you watch my carrier setup video, you're going to be using your jack radar and your jack torpedo, and possibly the jack phalanx as well. And having the higher level over your enemies from that is really, really good. So you're going to have a easier time getting ahead of people by this one skill alone. Being able to build more ships every day is also really nice, so that's good. I really don't use this one, but this one part is really, really effective. Anyway, Plunder 2. So that's why I use Rocket Fire. Curse Captain Jack gives you damage mitigation, defense, and more plunder, so giving you even more resources from attacking pirates, so you're never going to run out. There's a couple others. So the specialty ones that I really wanted to talk about, just so that people knew that they exist. Spayman. When you're merging your guys to get their talent levels up, This guy, put him on because he gives you the ability to get discounts when you merge geniuses and increases your chance of successful merging. 25% is massive. That's huge. And when you're doing that, also, you can change your title. There is a title that gives you, yeah, Genius Scout. Yeah. So that's another 25%. So you're getting a 50% increased chance of success. That's huge. Okay. So get this title pretty quickly, and it'll give you more effective merging. There's titles you always want to pair your title with your geniuses, and that'll make you more effective in the long run as far as things to do. Any other big ones that I wanted to go over? Specialty ones. Oh, where is he? Yeah, this guy. He's good for polishing subs, specialty. So like pair your put the title on for polishing subs, put this guy on for polishing subs if you can get them, and he'll save you skill chips. So you'll be able to polish your subs up faster, more effectively, and save yourself some skill chips. So this is really important for free players to master, making sure that if you're going to do something like leveling up your geniuses or polishing subs, that you're putting the specialty guys on for that time and making yourself more effective. But anyway, I think that covers all the stuff that I wanted to go over in the basic video. This video is running pretty long already at like 20 minutes. I apologize for the the disconnection in the middle, but anywho, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Like the video if you're watching it and you've made it this far. I really appreciate it. And thanks. Have a good day, guys. Bye.